So 3 years ago, I applied for a serving job at an Italian restaurant not too far away from me. And I got the job. But after I got the job, I remember a manager made the comment to me that I serve on an autistic level. And that's something that truly hurt my feelings because I thought I made a lot of progress in my social skills and the way I speak because I grew up with a very bad speech impediment. And that's the moment I realized I had a lot more work to do. Now, this guy was a douchebag. I really wanted to hurt him. My brother talked me out of it. So I didn't do anything to this man. But at that point, I really wanted to double down and work on my social skills. So I bought the courses, I paid for consultations, and I went on many dates. And I realized I got really good at communication when I went on a date with this woman not that long ago. And she confessed to me that she caught a body. And I'm not talking about slinging coochie. She caught a body. And she confessed it to me. And I'm the only person she ever told that in her whole life. Now, I'm not going to go into details because I'm no snitch. So we just going to end that part there. But today I want to talk about 5 things that can improve your social skills and just push you on that next level, man. Because a lot of people don't really learn good social skills. So you're awkward, you're timid. Look, man, I really started from 0. I started from -3 because I was shy, I was timid, I had a speech impediment. And now I'm getting to the point where I can get women to really open up, trust me, and the conversation always flows. Majority of dates I go on, she wants to go on a second date. And if we don't go on a second date, usually I don't want to go on the second date. So we're going to talk about 5 things you can do and start to implement over time. What are the 5 things that you must understand? Number 5 is listening. Listening is very important. And when I started to listen more, I realized a lot of the dates I go on, I'm not interested in that woman at all. You know, you can tell when you listen. See, a lot of people like to talk about themselves. And sometimes I know guys can get carried away and start talking about themselves. Really go on that date trying to learn that person. Or even if you're doing sales, learn who that person is, learn what they want. And like I said, a lot of times you'll go on these dates and you're like, okay, this girl, she's not worth much. She's not worth the second date. This girl, she's not worth a relationship. You can tell very early a lot of time. Let her talk, ask meaningful questions. Actually be interested in her. You know, and when you're interested, when you're talking, when the conversation is flowing, a lot of times she'll be like, oh, I just been talking the whole time. Oh, let's talk about you more. That's a very good point when you're letting her do majority of the talking. Ask meaningful questions. Try to go places where not too many men have been, right? Ask those deep questions. Like I got this girl to open up about catching the body. I've had many women open up about grape fantasies, getting raped, drug overdoses, all types of stuff like that. Like I will ask women, have you ever been to a mental hospital? That's very important things you want to find out, because then you can find out, do I even want to get to know this woman on a deeper level? Do I want to be a relationship with this woman? And see, a lot of y'all are going to give them the benefit of doubt. Oh, that was the past. She went there a long time ago. But that's some things you have to be aware of, whether that's dating, whether that's a friendship. That's the type of stuff you want to be aware of, because when it starts popping back up, okay, you already knew what was up. All right, going on to point number 4 is voice. And this is something I struggled with for a long time. It's being too quiet. Stop being too quiet. And I was very monotone. Like, this is how I would talk. And everybody was like, oh, you got such a deep voice. But nobody cares to hear you talk when you're monotone everything. Y'all see how I do these YouTube videos. I'm up, I'm down, I'm slow down, speed up. Add variety to your speech. A lot of people do not have a attention span. You know, most people have an attention span of a goldfish. So don't be very monotone. Some people will be able to listen, but most people, they will not be able to listen to you when you talk like this and you sound robotic almost, you know, and that was me for a very long time. And I could just tell when I would talk, people wouldn't be interested. So add variety to your speech. I even realized this too, like a lot of people will act like they heard you when they really didn't hear you. When you talk too quiet, some people are just going to go with it. You're like, oh, okay, that's what's up. And they didn't even hear what you said, you know. And I went to Applebee's yesterday with some people in my family, and our server, like, very quiet. And when you're very quiet, you don't speak up, people are automatically going to think you're shy or timid. A lot of times you are shy and timid, you know. And like I said, that's where I started. So there's nothing wrong with that, but you need to be working away from that. Like, don't be afraid to speak up. I'd rather have you be too loud than too quiet. Are some people too loud? Yes, but the vast majority of guys, especially in this generation, are too quiet. You're too scared. You're too shy to speak up. Don't be afraid to speak up, man. Because like they say, closed mouths don't get fed. So you hardly talking. A lot of times people will talk over you. People will ignore you, and you'll get overlooked many times, man. I've been overlooked many times in my life because I was that shy, timid guy. Going on to point number 3 is break the touch barrier. Touching is very important, and this is something I always do. Any date I go on, I always go in for the hug off the rip. You want to break that touch barrier because it will make things so less awkward, you know, and it makes people so much more comfortable. And you'll see this with like a lot of presidents. Even with Donald Trump, like I know a lot of people don't like Donald Trump, but if you watch how this man moves when he meets people, style, but you see when he shakes someone's hands, it's a strong handshake and he pulls them in. And I love to see it because you see how confident he is. And I know a lot of people don't like Donald Trump. They like, oh, he went bankrupt. But it's like a lot of these billionaires went bankrupt. That's what people don't understand. But it demands respect. When he's pulling them in, a lot of times he'll touch on their arm. Even a lot of business deals, like guys will touch on their forearms. You know, when they shake a woman's hand, they'll hold her hand with 2 hands. Try to break some touch barrier. That will make people more comfortable. And sometimes, a lot of times, people won't even realize it. They might like you more. They might be more comfortable with you because you touched them and they don't even realize you touched them. You know, just like going in from the hug from the beginning on that date. She might be more comfortable with you just off of you going in for that hug, and she doesn't even realize she's more comfortable with you now. Especially if you got that cologne on and she smells it. Oh, now you're going to be in the game. Going on to point number 2 is code switching. And I realize this is very important because a lot of younger guys I've been around, they don't know how to code switch. We go any place and they're talking the same way. You have to know when to turn it on and turn it off. Some videos, you could watch it in my videos. Some videos I'm more professional. Other videos I'm like cussing every 10 seconds. Like, I know when to turn it on and turn it off. Like, I'm not the type of person that's going to cuss around my parents, cuss around my family. If we're at a restaurant, I'm not going to be cussing. I'm not going to be talking with a lot of slang. Like, know when to talk with slang and not to talk with slang. A lot of you guys, the way you talk, you can tell that you watch TikTok 5-6 hours a day. You know, y'all twin, cuz, you feel me? I ain't going to lie. Get rid of all that. Like I told y'all, man, this was about 3 years ago, too. I got that consultation from Marquette. And he kind of got on me like, you say, I ain't gonna lie, you feel me? You got all these filler words. You, oh, yeah, you know, you get what I'm saying? Stop doing all that. It's gonna make you sound like an idiot. And the less I started doing that, the more I realized the people that do talk like that sound so dumb. Man, and so many people talk like that now. Could, you feel me? Could, or they said an N-word every other sentence. Try to clean up your language, man. Know when you can talk like that and know when not to talk like that. When you saying twin and cut, if you're around your homeboy, that's cool. But if you at work, if you at a restaurant, like, try to clean it up. You need to know how to code switch, you know? And it's like a lot of guys, women, they do it amazing. You know, a lot of these black women, especially I've been around, they know how to code switch, man. They would sound like a whole white woman. And I'm not saying you have to sound like a white guy or a white woman, but I'm saying speak properly, man. I'm not one of these people that like, oh, if you speaking proper, you sound like a white guy. I'm not saying that. But you know, y'all know what that voice I'm talking about, like that white woman voice. But be able to clean up your grammar, man. Be able to talk more proper. And like I'm saying, I'm not the best at this, but I've made a strides, you know. Cause there was periods in my life was I was that guy that was saying the N-word every sentence. I was saying you feel me every other sentence. I was saying I ain't gonna lie every other sentence. Like, clean up your language. Stop putting all these random filler words, all these little TikTok words in your language. Last but not least is mindset. And I say mindset's number 1 because you have to have a positive mindset to give you that energy to move a certain type of way. When you really love yourself and you have confidence in yourself, it's gonna show up in your body language. It's gonna show in the way you move on a daily basis, man. And that was the main thing. Like, that's why it took me so long. You know, I could have been speaking this well, but it took me a while because I lacked confidence for a long time. Once I started believing myself, everything became a lot easier, man. Once you really feel like you that guy, things get a lot easier. And it's like, even when I go on a date, I'm not super worried about the outcome. If she messes with me, cool. If she doesn't mess with me, okay. And like I said, now you start qualifying women for you. You're not going on that date anymore like, oh, I hope she likes me. I hope she's into me. Nah, bro, I don't even think like that anymore. I go on that date and be like, let's see, let's hope she not like these other bimbos. That's how I go on the date, man. And like I said, when you do point number 5, when you're a good listener and you really get into her brain, you don't realize most of these women aren't worth holding on for the long term. And it's harsh, but that's the reality. And then when you come in from that angle, you're not as worried. When you realize you the one giving her opportunity, when you're working on yourself, if you watching my channel, you on self-improvement, you working on yourself, you on body game. You're not too worried like, oh, I'm not going to find a woman. You're not in that scarcity type of mindset because you know you can find a woman. Now you're qualifying women for you because you the one putting in the work. You the one that's going to keep getting better. Even like moments, like sometimes I've been on dates and it gets quiet, it's silent. A lot of people will get uncomfortable when that silence comes up. I don't get uncomfortable at all. It's okay if no one talks for 10 seconds. That's perfectly fine. Now you see a lot of times when it's silent, women, they'll just start talking about anything. That silence makes them uncomfortable. But that shows that you're confident. When you can just sit in that silence, you can just enjoy the moment. You can just enjoy the energy wherever you're at. Like, I like going and getting boba, ice cream, walking the park. I can just enjoy being there. We can go without talking for 10 seconds. It doesn't make me uncomfortable at all. And now this might take some time. A lot of this stuff is really just about repetition, man. If you implement these 5 things, you listen, you work on the way your voice sounds, you not monotone, you go up, you go down, you slow down, you speed up. You break the touch barrier, especially off the rip. When you meet somebody, break that touch barrier. When you know how to code switch, when you know who am I talking to, you're reading the room. You can see, okay, I'm talking to this group of people. Let me talk this type of way. You have to be able to read the room. And even when it comes to the listening component, that is so important because I have this one friend and so many people did not like him because he would never read the room and he did not know how to listen. When you do not know how to listen, people will not like you. We would be talking about one thing, like let's say a homeboy talking about, man, my girl, she not acting right. She getting on my nerves. He'll come over and be like, oh, did you see Tyreek Hill talking about leaving the Miami Dolphins? And it's like, bro, we're not talking about that. You have to pay attention to the conversation and make that person feel like they're the only one in the room. I forget what president, I can't think of what president did that, but they said one of the presidents, I want to say it was Clinton, but they said so many people liked him because when he talked to you, he made you feel like you were the only one in the room. That's how you want people to feel. Like you and the other person are the only ones in the room. Y'all could be anywhere in the world and you're listening so deeply, you're really trying to understand and learn that person that she feels like you're the only guy in that room. Everybody else is invisible. That's how you want to make them feel. So break that touch barrier. You want to code switch. You have to know when and where to talk, what type of ways. Are you going to be more proper in this setting? Or are you going to be a little more slang? Do your thing. And last but not least, your mindset. You have to have confidence in yourself. You have to believe in yourself, man. And that's going to make everything a lot easier. Because if you don't believe in yourself, man, all the other stuff won't matter. All the other stuff won't matter. And it took me a while because growing up, people always called me retarded, slow. And then when this manager called me autistic, like that shit really struck a nerve. And like I said, I really think about hurting this man, but I realized like there was some truth to what people were saying. Not that I'm retarded or anything, but had to take it on the chin and keep it moving. What can I do? What can I listen to? How can I become a better speaker? And then I just focus on doing that. And another thing is be around people that speak well. Start filling your mind with more positive messages. If all you do is listen to rap music, you watching TikTok all day, well, you're going to start talking like people on TikTok and you're going to start talking like the rappers. And we know most of them sound like idiots. Let's keep it real.
Like tired, like they dead. And they dead like flies. Flies like flies everywhere. They dead.
But that's all I got for y'all today. I hope y'all soaked up some game. Make sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't. I appreciate all the support I've been getting recently. And I'll catch y'all boys in the next one.